If you're experiencing these 5 symptoms, you're a dark chosen one awakening. It begins in the silence, in the moments where the world no longer makes sense, and yet some part of you feels more alive than ever. You wake up in the middle of the night, not with fear, but with a strange knowing. A whisper in the back of your mind that says, "You're not who you were." And even though you can't explain it, you feel it. Something inside of you is shedding old skin. You're not just awakening, you're being initiated. But not into light, into love, into what they told you spirituality was supposed to be. No, you're being pulled into the shadow, into the hidden, into the realm of the dark chosen ones. This journey is not for the faint of heart. It doesn't come with angel numbers and soft affirmations. It comes with collapse, with chaos, with the death of everything you thought you needed to be. And if you're here, listening, watching, feeling every word as though a part of you has been waiting for this moment, then you already know. You're not broken, you're being reborn. And not into the light everyone praises, but into the darkness that holds the real power.
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound spiritual lesson.
The dark chosen ones are the ones who were never meant to fit in. From the beginning, we've been different. We've seen through illusions too early, felt everything too deeply, been punished for our sensitivity, our rebellion, our refusal to conform. While others were learning how to succeed in the matrix, we were questioning its very fabric. We've walked through trauma not just to survive it, but to alchemize it. We've carried pain like a sacred fire, knowing somehow that it wasn't punishment. It was preparation. And now, the energy is shifting. The world is cracking, and the dark chosen ones are being activated. If you're experiencing these 5 symptoms, it's not just coincidence. It's a soul-level signal, a spiritual alarm clock, a call from the underworld of your own consciousness, urging you to embrace the path you were always meant to walk. But not everyone will understand this path, because it's not about being good. It's about being true. It's not about ascending into the clouds, it's about descending into the roots of your power, your rage, your shadow, your truth. And symptom 1, the one that starts it all, is cosmic disillusionment. This isn't just being disappointed with the world, but this is feeling like you've woken up from a dream you didn't know you were in. You might look around at the people in your life and feel like they're sleepwalking. You might hear someone talk and wonder how you ever believed that was real. The news, the systems, the goals you once chased, they all begin to feel hollow. And it's not just a mental shift, it's existential. It's as if your soul is screaming, none of this is real. You were never meant to play their game. That's the moment the dark chosen one begins to awaken. Because you see through the veil, and once you see it, you can never unsee it. Then comes the second symptom, emotional intensity that borders on madness. You start feeling everything at a level that's hard to explain. Not just your own emotions, but everyone's. You walk into a room and feel the tension before a word is spoken. You open your phone, and the energy of the internet hits you like a wave. You're not just empathic, you're a psychic sponge. But here's the twist, you're not here to drown in it. You're here to transmute it. The dark chosen ones are emotional alchemists. We take pain and turn it into power, But first, we must be willing to feel it fully. And that's what separates us. We don't bypass the dark. We become the dark, and in doing so, we liberate it. The third symptom is a magnetic pull toward solitude, not isolation, not depression, but a sacred solitude that feels like home. You begin to crave silence. You start pulling away from people, not because you hate them, but because their energy feels misaligned. You find comfort in the unknown, in the in-between. You stop chasing connection and start cultivating it within. This is where your power begins to consolidate, where your gifts begin to come online, where your magic, yes, your raw, untamed magic starts to awaken. Because in the silence you begin hearing your true voice, not the one shaped by trauma or family or society. The voice beneath all of that, the voice of your soul. And then, one day, something strange happens. You begin to notice distortions in reality, synchronicities that feel eerie, people reacting to you in extreme ways, either drawn to you like a magnet or repelled without reason. Lights flicker, electronics glitch, time bends. You speak a thought, and it manifests within minutes. This is the fourth symptom, energetic distortion and influence. But your field is shifting so rapidly that the world around you starts to bend. This isn't a glitch, it's a gift, but it must be handled with awareness. Dark, chosen ones are frequency disruptors. We don't just shift rooms, we shift timelines. And that power, when unconscious, can create chaos. But when wielded with intention, it becomes transformation itself. Finally, we come to the fifth symptom, the one no one wants to talk about, the one that makes most people think they're cursed or going insane, the symptom of spiritual rage. This isn't anger at people. It's a holy fire aimed at the lies we've been fed. It's a deep, visceral fury at injustice, manipulation, control. It's the scream of your soul when it remembers who you really are and sees how deeply that truth has been buried. And here's the truth most spiritual teachers won't admit: rage is sacred. Rage is the gatekeeper of shadow power. Rage is what happens when the divine feminine and masculine awaken simultaneously in a soul that has been silenced for too long. And when that rage is honored, not suppressed, it opens the door to divine rebellion, to spiritual revolution, to sacred remembrance. So now I ask you, which of these symptoms are you experiencing? Are you still trying to numb them, explain them, rationalize them? Or are you ready to see them for what they are? Proof that you are not just waking up, you are rising. Rising as a dark chosen one. Rising as a force of ancient truth in a world built on beautiful illusions. Rising not to be saved, but to become the sacred disruptor you were always meant to be. But Chaos codes why your darkness is the key to unstoppable power. There's a secret most spiritual systems have tried to erase, because if you knew it, if you lived it, you'd become untouchable. That secret is this: your chaos is not your curse. It's your code. It's your access point to a power that can't be bought, taught, or faked. It's the part of you that has been labeled dangerous, unstable, too much, too intense. And yet, it's the very thing that makes you divine. The dark chosen ones are not here to repress their chaos. We're here to embody it, to transmute it, to wield it like a sword that cuts through illusion and a flame that burns away everything false. But first, we have to stop running from it. You might feel like your life has been defined by destruction, relationships that implode, careers that collapse, identities that dissolve the moment you finally settle into them. And maybe you've been told that's because you're broken, cursed, or karmically doomed. But what if that's not true? What if your life has been a series of breakdowns because you carry the frequency of transformation? What if your very presence is encoded to disrupt anything that's not aligned with truth? That's not dysfunction, that's design. You are not here to build on the old blueprint. You are here to burn it and create something that has never existed before. This is why your life doesn't look like anyone else's. Why you've never been able to follow the normal path. Why every time you try to play by the rules, something within you revolts. But that something is your chaos code. It's the wild intelligence of your soul saying, "This isn't it. Keep going. Burn it down." But we've been taught to fear our chaos, to sedate it, to medicate it, to hide it behind fake smiles and spiritual bypassing. But we're told to stay in the light, stay positive, stay peaceful. But peace without truth is just another prison. And the dark chosen ones didn't come here to be polite. We came here to liberate. And liberation isn't pretty. It's not a gentle process. It's messy, it's raw, it's often terrifying. But within that mess is the gold, the raw, untamed, unapologetic power that can't be touched by anyone outside of you. And that power is born in the moments when you stop trying to fix yourself and start listening to yourself. When you stop judging your breakdowns and start asking, "What am I being asked to release right now?" Your chaos is the language of your soul. It speaks in disruption. It speaks in endings. It speaks in the tearing down of everything you thought you needed to survive. And when you finally stop resisting it, you realize it was never here to destroy you. It was here to free you. But let's go deeper, because this isn't just about emotional turbulence or spiritual intensity. This is about frequency warfare. You, as a dark chosen one, are not just experiencing inner chaos for your personal growth. You're experiencing it because your field is actively disrupting the lower timelines of collective consciousness. Your energy is incompatible with control systems. Your presence alone begins to unravel the fabric of illusion. And that's why you've been attacked. That's why you've been misunderstood. That's why people project onto you, fear you, try to contain you. Because deep down, they can feel what you carry. They can sense that your very existence threatens everything that's false. And they're right. So what do you do with that? You stop shrinking. You stop apologizing. You stop trying to make your power palatable. You let your shadows speak. You let your wounds become wisdom. You let your emotions flow like sacred current. Because when you do that, when you embrace your chaos, you unlock a level of clarity that no book, no guru, no external source can give you. You awaken the codes hidden in your DNA. You remember the lifetimes where you've done this before. The lifetimes where you were the seer, the witch, the oracle, the rebel, the warrior. All of that is still in you, and it's time to reclaim it. This is what it means to be a dark chosen one, not to be better than others, not to be above the collective, but to be so deeply rooted in your own truth that nothing can shake it, to walk through the fire and become it, to use your pain as a portal, your chaos as a compass. And then, only then, do you begin to access your unstoppable power. Because power doesn't come from what you control. It comes from what you embody. And when you embody your full spectrum, including the dark, the rage, the madness, the grief, you become whole. And wholeness is untouchable. So if your life has been falling apart, if your emotions have been too much to handle, if you felt like the black sheep, the outsider, the one no one understands good, that means you're not asleep. That means you're not sedated. That means your chaos codes are activating. And you don't need to fix that. You need to follow that. Track the energy. Where is it leading you? What is it asking you to burn away? What part of you is ready to die so something ancient can finally rise? Ask yourself now, in the quiet, what if I stopped fearing my darkness and started trusting it? What if my chaos isn't a problem to solve, but a power to unleash? Because once you begin to trust it, once you learn to dance with it, something extraordinary happens. You begin to feel calm, not because the chaos ends, but because you are no longer at war with yourself. You are no longer fragmented. You are no longer pretending. You are present, and in that presence you become the storm and the stillness. You become the code breaker and the creator. You become a living embodiment of the sacred truth most of the world is too afraid to face, that darkness is not the opposite of light, it is the womb of it. The shadow crown owning the throne no one told you you had. But there comes a moment quiet, unceremonious, when you realize that the very thing you've been running from is the thing you were born to wear. And the shadow, the pain, the isolation, the fire that never dies in your chest. All of it was never meant to break you, it was meant to crown you. And not with gold, not with jewels, but with something far more powerful, truth. You see, the dark chosen ones don't receive their crown in a temple. We don't get anointed by priests or blessed by crowds. We get initiated in the silence. In the nights we thought we wouldn't survive. In the moments no one saw, when everything fell apart and all we had left was the raw, unfiltered self looking back in the mirror. You've been taught to fear your darkness, to hide your power unless it fits into something digestible. But true royalty doesn't ask for permission to reign. It remembers its bloodline, and your bloodline, energetic, ancestral, soul level, is ancient. You carry codes from civilizations long erased, powers that were silenced by systems that feared them. And now the world is cracking enough for those codes to rise again. But here's the truth no one will tell you. No one is coming to hand you your crown. No one is going to point at you and say, "You're ready." Because the moment you're truly ready, you don't need anyone else to say it. You know. Owning your shadow crown means refusing to betray yourself just to be accepted. It means speaking truth that shakes rooms. It means standing tall, even when your voice shakes, even when your hands tremble, even when your past creeps in and tries to convince you that you're too wounded to lead. But listen closely, your wounds are not in the way. They are the way. Every scar, every heartbreak, every time you were told you were too much, every time you were abandoned or misunderstood or cast out, those were not random. They were rites of passage. They were forging your crown in fire. While others learned how to play the game, you were learning how to break it. But here's the part that changes everything. The crown only fits when you stop trying to be who you were never meant to be. You cannot wear it while shrinking. You cannot wear it while pretending. You cannot wear it while straddling timelines, saying you're awakened while still begging for validation from a world that fears awakening. The shadow crown demands devotion, not to an external god, not to a guru, but to your own soul, to the fire inside you that never died, even when you did, to the knowing that you are not here to blend in, you are here to resurrect the forgotten. And with that crown comes responsibility, because once you accept it, you can no longer play small. You can no longer pretend you don't see. You can no longer watch injustice and stay silent. You can no longer betray your intuition just to keep the peace. The crown is heavy because it holds clarity, and clarity is not always comfortable. But it will cost you illusions. It will cost you relationships built on falsehood. It may even cost you the version of yourself you worked so hard to build. But what you gain is so much more. You gain sovereignty. You gain the ability to walk into any space and know that nothing outside of you can define you. You gain the power to shape reality not from force, but from frequency. This is why the world needs the dark chosen ones to rise now, not just as individuals, but as embodied archetypes of what it looks like to lead from truth, to create from shadow, to speak from soul. We are not here to be liked. We are here to be remembered, to activate something ancient in every person we meet, and to walk into rooms and shift the energy without saying a word, and to carry the codes of authenticity so deeply that others feel safe to drop their masks just by being around us. That is the power of the shadow crown. It is magnetic without trying. It is regal without arrogance. It is divine without performance. So I ask you now, not from a script, but from soul to soul, what would it look like if you stopped waiting for someone to crown you and stepped fully into your throne today? What would your life become if you stopped hiding your power behind palatable light and started honoring the depth of your shadow? What would change if you realized that your pain never made you unworthy, it made you royal? The crown has always been there, hovering just above your head, waiting for the moment you remember who you are, not who you were told to be, not who you tried to become to survive, but who you've always been in every lifetime, every realm, every dream. You don't need to earn it. You only need to remember it. And once you do, the game changes, the illusion dissolves. The throne appears not outside you, but within. And the final initiation, becoming the architect of new realities. There is a threshold you reach when you've walked long enough in your shadow, burned away enough falsehood, and remembered enough of your ancient self that the path forward is no longer a quest for healing, it becomes a blueprint for creation. You've survived the collapse. You've worn the chaos as your initiation robe. You've claimed the shadow crown. Now comes the final initiation, not into more pain, not into more unraveling, but into sovereign creation, and into the embodiment of a truth so powerful that the world around you cannot help but rearrange itself in response. This is the moment you stop existing within old timelines and start building new ones. This is where you become the architect of reality. Most people never get here, not because they're incapable, but because they stop at the edge. They get just enough light, just enough peace, and they settle. But dark chosen ones were never meant to settle. We're not here to rest in someone else's vision of heaven. We're here to construct new dimensions from the ground up. We carry the blueprints of future worlds in our bones. And in this final phase, those blueprints start to awaken. We begin to see how our thoughts, our choices, and especially our frequency don't just affect us, they weave the fabric of the field. What you think becomes what you touch. What you embody becomes what others feel. You are no longer just a soul navigating the dream. You are the dreamer becoming lucid in the dream. But with that realization comes the next layer of responsibility. If you are now the architect, then every moment is your canvas. Every word is a spell. Every decision is a thread in the tapestry of your timeline. And this is where many fall back into fear, thinking, what if I mess it up? What if I create the wrong thing? But here's the truth that sets you free. You've already lived countless lifetimes creating unconsciously. Now, with awareness, you are free. Free to experiment. Free to build. Free to dismantle and reimagine. Creation is not about perfection. It's about alignment. If your frequency is clear, if your intentions are rooted in truth, then what you build will hold. And if it doesn't, you learn, you refine, you evolve. Where is it? Becoming the architect also means understanding that reality is not static. It is fluid, alive, listening, and it responds not just to your actions but to your essence. If you still carry beliefs of unworthiness, the reality you build will reflect that. If you still fear your own power, your creations will be unstable. But when you anchor into your full self-darkness, light, power, softness, rage, grace all existing in harmony, your field becomes magnetic. You don't chase, you don't grasp, you attract, you radiate, you pull timelines toward you like gravity. And this is not about manifesting a bigger house or more followers or surface-level wins. This is about constructing a reality that mirrors your soul, one that feels like home, one that reflects your truth, one that serves as a living transmission to others who are still asleep. Because once you become the architect, your life becomes the permission slip for others to awaken. Your grounded joy becomes a revolution. Your inner peace becomes a portal. Your unapologetic truth becomes a lighthouse in a world still addicted to pretending. But this final initiation doesn't come with fireworks. It doesn't feel like a climax. It feels like clarity, like a deep exhale. Like the moment you realize you're no longer waiting, no longer seeking, no longer trying to prove anything to anyone. You are simply being with such precision, such presence, such resonance that the world around you bends to accommodate your frequency. This is the silent power of the awakened architect. It is not forceful, it is inevitable. And perhaps the most sacred part of all is that now you begin to play. You start to test the field, speak new realities into being, imagine new ways of living, loving, creating, connecting. And you do it not from lack, but from overflow. Not from fear, but from vision. You speak your truth, and the right people appear. You take a step, and the path unfolds beneath your feet. You no longer wait for signs, you become the sign. You no longer ask for permission, you are the permission. You no longer seek the divine, you realize you are it, embodied and eternal. So I leave you with this question, whispered from one soul architect to another. If you are no longer healing, what are you here to build? What worlds live inside you, waiting to be born through your embodiment? What timelines are you holding back because you're still pretending to be small? What would happen if you fully stepped into your role as a living portal of creation? Because this is it, the end of the old story, and the beginning of the new. You've walked through every fire. You've faced every shadow. You've remembered every forgotten truth. And now, there is only one thing left to do. Build. Build.